Hey there! Welcome to FastPix, Video Infrastructure as an API. One API that covers upload, encoding, streaming, player, analytics, and in-video AI. Real-time and per title encoding cuts storage and bandwidth costs around 35% automatically. Every video is machine readable by default, every scene, word, and moment indexed at upload. So more performant RAGs, recommendations, clips, search, chapters are an API call, not a quarter-long project. And it all runs on first-party data you own. That feeds into your growth and operations. Let's get started with the Supabase integration. Start in the FastPix dashboard. Generate an access token with read and write permissions, and keep the token ID and secret handy. Local Supabase runs as Docker containers, so Docker comes first. Install Docker Desktop or Docker Engine on Linux. Start it, then confirm with Docker info. If it prints server details, you're ready. If it says it can't connect to the Docker daemon, Docker is installed but not running. One thing worth knowing, local Supabase spins up about a dozen containers, so give Docker at least 4 GB of RAM. Now initialize Supabase in your project and start it. The first run pulls those containers down, so give it a minute. When it comes up, Supabase prints your local credentials, the API URL, the publishable and secret keys, storage, and the database connection string. All of it running on your machine, nothing deployed yet. Run Supabase status with env output and keep 2 of those values close, the database URL and the service role key. You'll need both within the next few steps, so it's worth parking them somewhere you can copy from. With Supabase running, initialize the FastPix integration. 1 command copies 3 migrations for the job queue and cron jobs, creates 4 edge functions, and sets verify JWT to false for the webhook, because FastPix signs its request instead of sending a Supabase token. Then it prompts for 4 values. Paste your token ID and secret. Press enter to skip the webhook secret. That one doesn't exist yet. And paste the database URL, where the FastPix tables get created. Then restart Supabase so it picks up the config changes. Skip this, and the webhook endpoint returns a 401 later. While that comes back up, look at what the CLI dropped in. For edge functions, webhook, worker, reconcile, and backfill, plus 3 number migrations. Over in Supabase Studio, open the table editor and switch to the FastPix schema. There they are, media, live streams, uploads, webhook events, and sync state. All created, all empty. Next, the vault secrets. The cron jobs call your edge functions over HTTP, and they read the function URL and the service role key from Supabase Vault, so neither value ever lands in a migration file. Open the SQL editor and run the 2 create secret statements. Do this now, before the webhook, otherwise events arrive, queue up, and nothing drains. Replace the placeholder with the service role key from Supabase status, and use host.docker.internal rather than localhost. The URL has to be reachable from inside the Postgres container, where localhost would mean the container itself, not your machine. This is the single most common thing to get wrong here, and it fails quietly, so it's worth double-checking before you move on. FastPix delivers webhooks over the public internet, so your local Supabase needs a public address. That's what this next part handles. In one terminal, expose port 54321 with ngrok and leave it running. Your webhook URL is the forwarding address, plus functions, v1, FastPix webhook. Copy that. In a second terminal, serve the edge functions and leave that running too. You'll now have 3 things going at once: Supabase, the tunnel, and the function server. Each of the 4 functions has a job. The webhook receives and verifies events. The worker drains the queue. Reconcile catches anything missed. And backfill imports what already exists. Back in FastPix, create the webhook with your ngrok URL. FastPix checks that URL immediately and won't save it otherwise, which is why we tested it first. Then copy the signing secret and paste it into the env file. It's base 64, so copy it exactly. A retyped or truncated value makes every signature check fail silently. No rows, no error, nothing in the logs. Now let's prove the pipeline works. Upload a video in the FastPix dashboard. Drag a file in or paste a URL. FastPix starts ingesting it immediately, and the moment it does, a webhook fires. Watch what happens on the Supabase side without touching anything. No refresh loop, no manual sync, no code running on your end beyond the functions we already started. There it is in the webhook events table. Video.media.created, logged raw. Every payload FastPix sends is stored here first, before anything is processed, so you always have the original to debug against. And here's the payoff. The media table now holds the synced record, same media ID as the dashboard. Your database mirrors your video library, and you didn't write a line of polling code. Live streams ride the same rails. Create one in FastPix, and you get a stream key, RTMPS and SRT URLs, all generated for you. It lands in the live streams table with its status, resolution, and recording settings. Sync the same way, through the same queue. That's the whole loop, and it's worth being precise about what just happened. FastPix sent an event. The webhook function verified the signature and wrote it to webhook events. The worker picked it off the queue, refetched the record from the FastPix API, and upserted it into the right table. If a row ever doesn't show up, this query is where you start. Type, process status, and last error, newest first. No rows at all means the webhook isn't being reached. Rows stuck at receive mean nothing is draining the queue. So check the vault secrets. The environment variables are documented in full. The 3 required ones, plus 2 optional. One last piece. If your account already has content, backfill it. One command imports your existing media and live streams, and it checkpoints as it goes. That's the full integration. FastPix handling video, Supabase holding the data, webhooks and cron keeping them in sync. Try it free at fastpix.com.